All right, we'll call this regular council meeting to order for July 13th. It's 3 p.m. And I'd ask Councillor Hill to please read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you. The town of Innisfil acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kainai, Piikani, and Siksika, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and Stoney Nakoda First Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3, within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and for those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hill. Moving on to 2.1, are there any additions or deletions? No, can I please have someone make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Councillor McKellar.
I'll move the agenda as presented.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Then we'll move on to 3.1, the regular council meeting minutes for June 22nd. Just have somebody please make a motion to adopt those as presented. Councillor Hill, sorry.
Yep. No, I will make that motion, Mayor Barclay.
Thanks. Any changes? No? All in favor? Carried. Okay, and we'll move into 4.1, and I'll ask Director Leith to please introduce our guest today.
Yeah, Staff Sergeant Ian Amy, presenting the multi-year financial plan.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. So just presenting on the multi-year financial plan, which most of you have seen this throughout the years, and for those that are unfamiliar with it, I'll just kind of explain what it is. So it's a bit of a long document. I'm not going through the whole thing. I'm just going to touch on some of the highlights of it. Biggest thing to understand with it is it's not a contract or agreement or anything like that the town is agreeing to. All it is a planning and forecasting tool. So the RCMP started doing this a few years ago to try to help various councils with their budgets moving forward, because obviously policing is one of the higher cost items that municipalities have to deal with, just so that they can plan their finances throughout the years and moving forward throughout the next few years. Multiple sections of this thing. Some of it I'm going to go over in the quarterly reporting as well, but it sets out what the operational priorities are, which, as everyone knows, are set in conjunction with the town. For us, our priorities were set as police community relations, crime reduction, and traffic safety as our three overlapping priorities, with our kind of overarching priority for the detachment just being visibility of the police in the community, which is something we've been focusing on for quite a few years now. Human resources section. So the town continues to contract the RCMP for 10 regular member positions and 3 civilian positions. That hasn't changed in quite a few years now, and there's no anticipated increases to those positions at the moment over the lifespan of the next 5 years. I'll move on to the next thing here. One of the more kind of interesting sections there, it talks about equipment. So what's changing with the RCMP? What I've noticed over the last few years, the amount of things changing for us on a yearly basis is increasing all the time, which unfortunately some of those come with costs, but it's also good that we're trying to keep pace with the way that society's changing and that what the needs are. Some of the big items that you'll see in that is there's still the RCMP is looking at purchasing portable ballistic shields. So essentially they're a giant sheet of body armor is what it is, hard body armor that can stop any kind of firearm. They're recommending that there being 2 per detachments, but the costs are not finalized on them. They've seen a huge increase in the cost for this based on really our relationship with the Americans and suppliers and tariffs and all sorts of stuff. But they are quite pricey, and the RCMP is estimating them at $20,000 a piece. But there's no decision made on that yet, and there's no costs actually associated for the town right now. Right now, one of the big things we're undergoing is the pistol modernization. So the RCMP has had the same pistol since the 90s, and they've selected the new one, which is a Glock 45 MOS, and it's currently being rolled out. They're training the firearms instructors right now, but we're going to start seeing some of our members start being issued them and being trained in the fall. And so the whole rollout for that is about a 3-year program, which we will probably see the general duty members, for the most part, outfitted within the next year, year and a half. Costs for those are about $1,700, which includes the firearm, all the accessories, and the training. Other new equipment, uniform shirts are going to be changing. We're probably going to start seeing these rolling out in August. So the gray shirts like I'm currently wearing are going to be phased out, and there's going to be blue shirts instead. Body-worn camera technology. So this is an interesting one. So as you guys have all seen, all the officers now outfitted with body-worn cameras. The company that runs them is called Axon, and they've got a whole bunch of other, I would say, technology add-ons and software that can be used. And one of the things the RCMP is looking at, it's actually being piloted right now by Rocky Mountain House Detachment and Blackfalds, is a program called Draft One, where once a body camera turns on, you deal with an incident, you turn it off, it auto-generates a written report based on what it sees, what happened, and it's scary accurate. But it has a lot of benefits as far as just having reliable written account of what's on the video without having to video it, and will hopefully shorten report writing for members too. So that's going to be coming out, which is good. The other thing that's hopefully coming out too is live streaming. So won't be live streaming for the public, but for myself, if my guys are out somewhere far off in the county and they run into an incident, I can log on my computer and I can actually watch what they're doing real time. So that'll be very helpful for myself. So last other equipment thing that they mentioned there is vehicle modernization. So our police cars are also going through a bit of a modernization, and the new ones, when we start getting them, you'll see will look very different. Just the colors, they're going to look more of a retro styling, I would say, black and white, kind of like a traditional kind of police car that people used to have years ago, and it looks pretty slick. So. And then the other big thing on there is all about financials. So the current year projections is 1.8 million for the town, and obviously that's broken up into quarterly billing, which gets adjusted every quarter based on cost savings or if there's been cost increases. The projections for the following years are looking at a 6% increase for the following year, 27-28, followed by a 2% increase in 28-29. There's a rather large increase in 29-30, projected increase, and that's mostly based on some proposed building upgrades to the detachment that set about $90,000. And then the following 2 years after that, 30-31 and 31-32 have fractional, if not just negligible, increases in costs. Those are kind of my summary of the document. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer any that anybody has.
Okay. Thank you, Staff Sergeant Imey. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Russell.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. You mentioned the 90,000 increase there. I noticed that in the spreadsheet, but it seems to stay at that level even after that when it shows the next year's 10 and 10. So, but the increases are still significant in those years too. That doesn't come back down. So
no, it doesn't come back down. I think it's just mostly including inflation and stuff into those numbers. From what I could tell from this, so like the financial side of this document, I don't generate. That gets generated by our finance people. So some of it, I'll have to admit, is a little bit of a mystery to me sometimes too. But yeah, for the most part, that's where that one big increase comes from. But then, yeah, you're right. It doesn't go down because just every year we're looking at increases based on inflation and wages as well too. The other thing too that I didn't mention is that the 26-27 budget amount does not include any sort of collective bargaining agreement pay raise. So we've been without a contract now since April of 2025. Currently in negotiations with the Treasury Board. I'm hoping it will be resolved sometime this fall, but again, it's outside of my hands. So, but the 26-27 budget does not have that in there. They've suggested, or they've anticipated, a 3.5% yearly increase going back from 2020 or April of 2025. And that's just an estimate of it. Like, I have no idea what it's going to be, and the people doing this don't know. Only the people on the bargaining committee for the Treasury Board or the RC or the union know kind of where they're looking as far as pay.
Okay, any other questions? Don't see any, so thank you for coming. We appreciate that very much.
And sorry, Ms. Barr, I wasn't sure if, I believe administration asked me to also present on quarterly reporting, and I don't know if that actually made it into the agenda.
Mayor and Council has put into your correspondence, so there was a notification to Council, Staff Sergeant Imey, that if Council had any questions to the report, they could certainly ask you today.
Okay, sure.
Yep, so don't see any more questions, so we'll just have a motion then that we have the chief elected official sign off on this report, please.
I'll make that motion, Mayor Barclay.
All right, thank you very much. All in favor? All right, carried. Thanks again for coming in.
Yeah, have a good day,
Appreciate
guys.
it. Okay, we'll move into council action control. Does anybody have any questions about the list? If not, I'll just have a motion that we accept council action control as information. Councillor Russell?
Mayor Barclay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and we'll move into 5.1 with Director Kennedy and a front-end loader purchase.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. So I have in front of you a request for purchase of our new front-end loader. As per our fleet management policy, replacement guidelines for heavy-duty equipment run in that 20-year range, depending on the maintenance cost. Our Unit 22C front-end loader is a 2003 case model with about 4,500 hours. Estimated cost for maintenance have been running in that 62,000 range since we've owned it, with a note of parts getting a little harder to find. The unit will be replaced with an equivalent size or one size larger, with the intent obviously to run the snow blower unit. This unit will be sold at the auction once we have our new unit. We did do a request for quote, posted on APC and the town website, where we did receive 9 submissions, ranging from 313,000 to 374. We did take quite a bit of time on this one, where we did take the top 3 units, had them brought to the yard, did some test drives, had them hook up to the existing snow blower to confirm compatibility, capacity, as well as get some operational and comfort opinion as well. Through that analysis, we did recommend going with the 2026 Hitachi. This unit does come with buckets, forks, and the connections for the snow blower unit. It is our recommendation to proceed with this for the purchase price of $313,500, as well as including a budget of $15,000 for the additional items that we had to the.
Mayor Barclay, I'll make the motion that council approves the purchase of one 2026 Hitachi ZW1807-7 front-end loader unit from Wajack Limited for the total price of $313,500. GST not included, to be funded from the Fleet Capital Reserve.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions about this? Councillor Hill?
Yes, Mayor Barclay, Director Kennedy, for the warranty and stuff like that, like for serviceability, our mechanics for the town, they're eligible to just work on this to keep the warranty, or does this have to, how does that work for maintenance scheduling and stuff like that for a brand new unit like this?
Yeah, so the unit comes with a 1-year full warranty, where it goes to back in for repairs. After that, then our mechanics are certified.
Okay,
Yep.
Thank you.
Do you have any idea, Director Kennedy, what the value of the item will be in auction, the old unit?
I really
Hard to
don't.
say.
I asked if they had an idea, and it's really hard to know it depending on the amount of units that are
Okay.
at the auction.
Yep, no, fair enough. All right, so we have a motion to purchase this unit. All in favor? All right, that's carried. Thank you. And we'll now move into 5.2 with the Dodds Lake parking lot with Director Kennedy.
Yep, thanks again, Mayor Barclay. So in front of you is the RFD for the Dodds Lake parking lot. A little bit of history going back to 2022, where we did engage Tagish Engineering to complete a design and cost for the remediation of the lot itself, as well as the creation of the parking lot. The preliminary design followed the concept provided back in 2021, where we did the Dodds Lake Area Community Recreation Plan. In 2022, Enviro West Engineering was engaged to develop a yearly groundwater monitoring program. This was submitted to Alberta Environment, where we were monitoring on a yearly basis. 2025, the reporting did show migration towards the lake, therefore warranting the need to progress with this project sooner than later. We prepared an RFQ, posted on APC and the town website, where we did get 6 contractors submitting bids. Bids ranged from $243,000 all the way up to $450,000. Submissions were reviewed by Tagish Engineering, didn't see anything unbalanced, with their recommendation coming to award to Howell's Excavating. Total project cost, including engineering and contingency, is $318,000, with a preliminary start of construction here in August, depending on the weather. It is also our recommendation to proceed with recommendation to Howell's Excavating for the project.
Okay, thank you. Could I please have someone make the recommended motion? Councillor Wing.
Mayor Barclay, I move that council approves the award of the Dodds Lake parking lot contract to Howell's Excavating Ltd. for $243,122.10, GST not included, to be funded from the General Capital Reserve.
All right,
And I have a question, yeah. Thank you for the work that you've done on this, for sure. I'm excited to see the parking lot remediated and get some better structure down there, for sure. My question is just sort of related to the behavior that we see when people now, when they take their boats down or they take their kayaks down, they just kind of park wherever they want. And I know that we have 12 parking spots allocated here, which is great. And I know on-street parking is there and it's great too. I'm concerned though about that larger asphalt area right where the water, right going down to the entry into the water. And will we monitor, patrol, have signage or whatever to say absolutely no parking here? Because people are really frustrated now trying to get down to the water. I just worry that we're going to have triple the amount of vehicles parked wherever they want.
Yep, Councillor Wing. So we will be reinstating all the no parking signs that we have down there with some designated parking, offloading parking as well. Down in that area, we do have the new kayak rental down there, so we will be, designating a new location for that as well, which will then eliminate some of that parking kind of congestion down there as well. This is a gravel parking lot to start with. Just to clarify that, with the trail, the darker gray area being the paved trail this year.
So Director Kennedy, with the remediation, like do they dig up that lot and leave it, do they have to leave it open for a while before it can be turned into a parking lot, or can all the work be done this year?
To Mayor Barclay, we will be removing all the material.
Okay.
And then backfilling with clean material in order to complete the project all this year. In regards to the contaminated soil, we're actually doing it at our town yard where we're land farming that material. And then once it's suitable, that material then becomes available for us to use for backfill as well.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions? No, we have a motion. All in favor of the motion? Okay, carried. And we will move into 6.1 with an amendment to the rates and bylaw fees with Director Vickers.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Barclay. So this is just a rates and fees bylaw update that can happen sometimes throughout the year. This is primarily being brought before council due to the change in how we're doing our planning services this year, with PCPS no longer doing some of our subdivision and planning services. We're now taking that on, so we needed to kind of update that just in our rates and fees bylaw, as well as we just updated, put on that we do offer a 15% discount in the Aquatic Center for some passes from December 15th to January 15th, trying to coincide with that New Year's kind of new you kind of thing. It just was never identified anywhere else, so we just wanted to kind of get it listed on here for you. So I'll take any questions, but ultimately that's it.
Okay, thank you. Please have someone make the first motion, the first reading. Councillor Hill.
Yes, Mayor Barclay, I'll make a motion that council gives first reading to bylaw 1753-2026 to amend the rates and fee bylaw 1687-2022.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions about this? I don't see any. So all in favor of the first reading? Carried. I'll have somebody please make the motion to give second reading. Councillor Strong. Oh, sorry. Councillor
No, that's
Russell.
fine.
Okay.
That council gives second reading to bylaw 1753-2026 to amend the rates and fees bylaw 1687-2022.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No, all in favor? Carried. And then we'll have consideration for third reading. Councillor Russell.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. I'll move that council gives consideration for third reading to bylaw 1753-2026 to amend the rates and fees bylaw 1687-2022.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carry unanimously, and we'll move into third and final reading, please. Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I would move that council give third and final reading to bylaw 1753-2026 to amend the rates and fees bylaw 1687-2022.
Okay, thank you. Final questions? Nothing? All in favor? Carried. All right. We'll move into 6.2 with Director Vickers and the Q1 financials.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Barclay. So before council, I do have the first quarter financials. So this financial information does reflect the first quarter of 2026. So that is January 1st to March 31st, not 30th, as it says right in there, for 2026. And we are bound by the MGA as well as our town's budget policy to kind of provide quarterly financial reporting to council. So we'll get into the financials. So when looking at the revenue, we do see an overall revenue of 11%, and we always like to compare this to our kind of quarterly benchmarks. So compared to 25%. When we compare ourselves to last quarter, this is 1% lower that we seen in the same period. It's not unusual for us to be at this percentage in the first quarter. We don't have any of our tax revenue yet, and things are a bit slow going in the first couple of months. We'll go through some of them. So business licenses is sitting at 89%. This is one of those items that we do primarily collect at the beginning of the year. Some will trickle out through the summer and things like that, but primarily that's where we're at. Animal licenses is sitting at 67%, very similar to business licenses. These reviews or these expenses come out very early in the year and just will trickle in as we go. As it says, tax revenue is at zero. I know we have recognized it now in the year, but as for this, the financial portion of the year, we have not recognized the property tax revenue at. It is recorded in the second quarter. Sale of land is low. It's only sitting at 8%. However, the amount that's sitting up in that account is really just currently deposits. We don't really receive any of that money until those land actually close. So most of those close later in 2026 or then pushed into 2027. You'll see that our permanent application fee is sitting at 111%. Now, this primarily is made up of a giant portion of lots or of permits from last year. Some updates to our financial accounting standards means that we have to recognize the revenue in the year that it's deemed received, and permit revenue is only received when that permit is closed. So one of the large permits is the pool. So we had to recognize it last year, but then move it to this year. So that's probably about half of that amount is from that pool permit. Franchise fees are sitting right where they're expected for the first quarter. So we'll move on to the expenses. We'll look at the full sheet to give council any opportunity to ask and drill down into any other ones. Under the expenses, we're only sitting at that 18% compared to that 25% measurable, so we are sitting in a pretty good situation. When comparing ourselves to last year's quarter, it's 2 percentage points lower than the same period last year, so we're just kind of underspending a little bit. One thing that we always like to look at is salaries. That's very easily identifiable by quarter. So we are sitting at 21% out of the 25%. We have no concerns at this time with our salaries. Telecommunications are at 44%. So this one's a bit odd. We have some that are monthly expenses throughout the year, but then we do have some expenses that are kind of a lump sum at the early year. Specifically, our annual fire dispatch fees is a lump sum. So that kind of brings that up into a bit higher percentage earlier in the year. Very similar to grants to others, it's sitting at 54%. This is primarily our library requisition that's paid annually. The other ones that kind of trickle in is the Parkland Library will come in throughout the year. Our insurance is sitting at 99%. We do pay our insurance entirely at the beginning of the year. This should only increase throughout the year as we add more equipment or as we purchase new items and we have to add it. So it may trickle up a little bit, but we are sitting right where we kind of expect this year. And then we have other requisitions is sitting at 82%. So this has our Parkland Foundation and CAWMA, which is Central Alberta Waste Management, I think, yeah. And so they're issued in the first half of the year as well, so we kind of see that. All the revenue and expenses are within what we expect for those budget numbers for where we're sitting at this year. We do have the councillors' expenses kind of listed here. As per our councillor remuneration policy, we do kind of have to report those councillor expenses to council at the quarterly portions. So they're sitting here. There's not much in here yet. This is March 31st is kind of early in the year, and we will see more trickle in through. And this is any direct expenses, any travel-related expenses that council may be refunded back, things like that. Just an update on the investment. We did update the investment policy to require quarterly reporting. So I just wanted to update that our investment advisor RFP did close back on July 2nd. We did receive 3 responses to that RFP. We are reviewing those submissions as we speak, and we'll report later to council on any update with those. As part of the first quarter financials, we are using this point in time to do some budget adjustments to the budget from this year. So the first one was that 2025 surplus allocation that did have to identify and put out those 4 projects, increase to the sidewalk allocation, the Main Street lights, the infill incentive program, as well as the tax bylaw review. So that's $185,750, and that came through the surplus allocation. There is a couple more that we just wanted to go through and update. So the first one was just updating our school remittances. So this is going through after budget was passed. We did have our tax bylaw and that stuff come through for 2026. So we do just need to update those numbers. It's just kind of an in and an out on our budget. The third item is we do want to remove that special tax item as well in the budget. It was originally included in budget, but then council did not pass the special tax bylaw, so we do want to just kind of remove those dollars from our budget. And then the last item we do need to add is a budget adjustment for the CAO recruitment services. So the cost there, the $50,000, will cover the entire cost of the headhunter as well as any extra expenses that could come up that is required by the town to fill that. So the list here is kind of the following accounts that do need to be adjusted based on those budget adjustments. And then we did just add in a current debt obligation as well, kind of on the bottom. This is as of June 30th, however, not as of March 31st. So we wanted to identify that another industrial loan has been made on June 15th, so you can see where our current balance is right there. And then also just to let council know that a payment has been made to the line of credit, so we are now down sitting at $9.5 million. We have exhausted the monies in the reserve as well as the portion from the surplus that council directed toward the debt. At the end of the year, if we end up having to pull more out because expenses are more, it will adjust, but at least right now we've lowered that debt obligation to help kind of reduce some of those interest costs, yeah. So would council like to go through, if we keep going to the next one, let's go to the next document, Juanita. One more. So here is our summary income statement. So it's just our income kind of by, like, think of type. So as you can see here, there's nothing for taxes. We can just go through everything kind of under the sale of goods and services. That's where we see our sale of water and wastewater. Other sales of services and supplies is kind of a bunch of things. Water sewer connection fees, any advertising, sale of land, you can see it's only sitting at that 8%, but again, that's really just land deposits at this point. And just go on. If council has any specific questions, we can go ahead and have any questions answered. No? If not, I'll take any other questions that council may have. Yeah. There's one other item that that will be coming in a future budget adjustment, so we just kind of wanted to let council know now. So there is another grant that that administration is applying for the Brood program, and I'll just let Megan kind of.
Yes, so we're looking to submit a grant application through the Alberta Jobs Economy, Trade and Immigration Program, being the Labor Market Partnership Program, submitting for a $50,000 grant to support Brood Project number 10, which was Workplace Culture and Enhancement Program. So we are looking to submit this in partnership with not only other communities through Central Alberta First, as well as some employment and post-secondary institutions. It is a $50,000 grant, and the town would be the managing partner. So again, this would be an in and an out on our revenue and expenses, but if we are successful, we will need to do a budget adjustment to that. The project would consist of both events during Small Business Week this fall, supporting businesses with identifying current and emergent issues with AI use, particularly in the workforce, and then continuing on through 2027 with various resources and events to support small and mid-sized businesses.
As Director Jenkins said, that we are going to be applying for it. Once we know if we are successful, we will bring in a formal budget adjustment. However, there will be a net impact to the budget. We'll bring in a $50,000 revenue from this grant, and then we will add in a $50,000 expense, so just an in and out.
Okay. So what do you need from us today, Director Vickers? Like, there's a recommended motion here for the approve the first
That's
quarter
correct,
financials.
yes.
That's it.
So that's what I
Okay.
need to approve this report and all
Yeah.
the budget adjustments contained herein.
Okay.
And we'll bring any other one forward later.
Yeah. Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure the budget adjustments were.
Yes.
Because some of them have already been.
Well, yes, the ones from the surplus in the reporting, I'd kind of, maybe they were not done. In the report, it said a future
Yeah.
budget adjustment will be brought up, but it was already kind of formally passed by
Okay,
council.
perfect, thanks.
Yeah.
So I'll have somebody please make a motion. Councillor Russell.
Mayor Barclay, I'll make the motion. The council approves the first quarter financials as presented. And I do have a question, if I can.
Go ahead.
Looking at the capital budget, Napoleon Lake South Land Development, 4.5 was the budget. It's at about 3.44. Are we anticipating, I know we still have paving to do, but are all the other costs in besides that? And are we on track there budget-wise?
Yep, we are on track. There is a few other things. There's landscaping to be done, trail, the road paving, as well as boulevard trees and a few other items. Yep.
Any other questions? No? Okay, so we have a motion. All in favor of the motion? Carried. Okay, and we'll move into correspondence and information. And does anybody have any questions about the, I think we welcome Kendra at the library as the new manager. And there was no questions for Staff Sergeant Imey, so I'll just have a motion to please accept the correspondence as information. Councillor McKellar.
Mayor Barclay, I'll move to accept the correspondence as information.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Then we'll get into council reports. We'll begin with Councillor Russell today.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. I think the only thing I forgot to put in mine was I did attend the art walk that was there, but going back quite a few days, I missed that one. So other than that, I have nothing further to add.
It's hard to remember it. Councillor McKellar.
Mayor Barclay, my report is as submitted. Just one addition, just to make council aware, is that the library regulations have been amended as of July 8th. And are out now. The Coalition of Libraries is following that pretty close. They have sent a letter to the minister. I haven't got through all the material yet, but I'll continue to monitor that and share it with our administration as it comes forward.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hill.
No report, Mayor Barclay.
Okay, Councillor Strong.
I did submit one. There's one thing. On Thursday is the RDR MUG meeting. I will not be attending, and my backup has a personal thing, cannot make it. So if somebody does want to make it, it's at the Dixon Dam, and it includes the tour of the dam. So it would be quite the thing if somebody wants to get hold of me, and I can forward the invite. But it is in our backyard. It would be nice if we had somebody who could make that.
Okay, we'll leave that to, can figure that out after the council meeting, and hopefully somebody can go to that. Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I did submit a report, but I have two things to just comment on. One of them, the Water Commission met last week, and two things coming out of that. The annual golf tournament is August the 27th in Bowden, and anybody from council, administration is absolutely welcome to join the group for the day and for dinner. And then the strategic planning session for the next year will be held on September the 9th in Olds, and that'll be a full-day session on September the 9th. And then finally, and I haven't had a chance to check back with Director Jenkins, but I did have some communication from Ubuntu, and so I think some of us are familiar with Ubuntu and the work that they do regionally. They're looking at establishing a youth advisory committee and would like to explore having some representation from Innisfail. So I did give them Director Jenkins' contact information, and I can follow up with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And my report is there, submitted. So we'll move on to upcoming events. I'll just have a motion, please, to accept the upcoming events as information. Councillor Hill.
I would make that motion, Mayor Barclay.
Okay, are there any changes, anything needing adding? No? Okay, all in favor? Carried. And then we will have a motion to go in camera, please. Councillor Hill.
I will make the motion that we move in camera, Mayor Barclay.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried.